Welcome back to the podcast. Today we are talking about these new Chinese models that have just been released that are apparently closing the gap with Anthropic and OpenAI. So today we're going to get into all the different details of, is Claude really that proprietary? Can it be copied? Which model should I use? And that means for the economy and everything going forward. There's huge implications for this. Before we get into that, I wanted to mention our AI Hustle School community. If you have not checked that out yet, you really want to go check it out. It's a great place to learn how to actually take some of these tools and learn how to make money with them or grow your business. So this week, Jaden and I talked all about building directory websites, how that can be a huge SEO tool to grow your business, or also a marketing tool for other businesses, how you could also make money doing like renting your website out to contractors, basically selling them leads. There's so many different ways you can take a directory website, and now it's easier to build one than ever. So we kind of break down that strategy, show two different applications. It's a really great episode. So you can join our school community free. We have a free tier, which gives you access to weekly live streams and then also 5 bonus episodes. But if you want to open the whole vault of over 100 videos, we've put hours and hours into this. You can pay the premium tier, which is $19 a month. So we'd love to have you be a part of the community AI Hustle. So we'll leave a link below for you to check that out. But let's talk about some of these Chinese models here. Kimi K3 and Qwen 3.8 are the specific models that have just recently come out. There's a couple different claims that are really important here with some of these. The first one is that Kimi K3 lists at $15 per million output tokens against roughly $30 for OpenAI's ChatGPT 5.6 Soul and $50 for Anthropic's Claude 5. So it's roughly half the cost of OpenAI and then a third of the cost of Claude. And everyone knows who uses Claude, including me, gets frustrated with how fast the tokens get used up. Even in like the Claude Max plan, if you're doing anything sort of complicated, it really uses those tokens quickly because it's expensive. So a tool that could be on the same level as Fable 5 but cost a third, that to me is really enticing. Same with Qwen 3.8. That's the other model we're talking about today. So that one, it didn't give specifics to cost, but it's described as second only to Fable 5. So a really, really powerful model. The other important thing to note about Qwen is that I believe this one is able to be run locally, or at least older versions of Qwen have been able to be run locally, which means you don't have to send out data to a server. So that can solve at least some of the security questions. That is the one caveat with a lot of these foreign LLMs, is the security concerns people have, which I think is valid. The other thing is, so are you giving up security for cost, or is Anthropic's Claude actually that secure? We don't really know, and I don't really have that much trust in any of them, to be honest, because we know we talked about in another podcast about how there was just a settlement with Anthropic, I should say, training off of pirated books to the tune of $1.5 billion was the settlement, which is the largest in U.S. history. So there's a lot of questions security-wise, but also costs too. So there's a lot of different things to take into account here with these different models. But I think moving forward, it's going to be there's going to be an economic question here as well, because up to this point, all the valuations in the stock market have been that what we have in these tech companies is the greatest in the world. It's the most valuable and the most profitable. But if some of these models can come up and do it for half the cost, that's going to really, I think, put a big hit on some of these big tech companies we have here in the US. So if they can beat us in the arms race of technology, I think that could not only have big consequences for our national security, but also our economy. So, because people in general, I would say, don't like America in other countries, and if they can use something that's cheaper and also not have to pay us money, they're probably going to do it. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of discussion here to be had, but I think if you are listening to this, the important takeaway is that um, just be aware of some of these other models, and if it may suit your use case better, depending on what you're doing. If you don't want to pay for tokens and you're doing something like voice emulation, I know Quen has been really has a lot of notoriety for its voice capabilities. So as opposed to using something like 11 Labs that uses a lot of credits and costs a lot of money, you could have a cheaper version that's just as good, or a free version if you run it locally. So again, just be aware of these different models, and also moving forward with some of the economic implications. Just be paying attention. Jaden and I are always paying attention to these news stories and how it affects us in our daily work. Recently, Jaden has switched back to ChatGPT, which I think was big news to me, because we've both been heavy on Claude, but he likes the speed more, the organization, and it just seems to be cheaper for him to use right now because he's doing a lot of development with different apps and things. So if that's you, again, just be aware of these changes that are all rolling out, and which model suits your use case best. So anyways, thanks for listening, guys. If you would again, check out our AI Hustle School community. We'd love to have you be a member. It's a thriving community of over 500 members, all people like-minded, wanting to do the same thing with their businesses. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.